How you guys doing today? Welcome back. Today is lesson 24, writing a trading plan. Until this point, I've been giving you little shreds of it, little pieces, little nuggets to make a trading plan. Today we're going to bring it all together. Now, of course, we've mainly talked about technical analysis. That's great, but we have to talk about fundamentals eventually. We have to talk about mental analysis, how to hold a stock, all these kinds of great things. You can plug that in later, but for today, let's talk about the actual trading plan. What I'm going to use for my trading plan, there's 3 examples. The first one is going to be actually putting boxes on the chart and writing on the chart. That's totally fine. The second 2 are going to be actually written plans and a whole different document to keep. I really enjoy doing a separate document for the main reason that it's like a journal. I think it's super important for newbies and even those who are more experienced who've never kept track of these things to start keeping track of these things. You may not find it all that important. I think it is. It gives you a great reference point of what you looked at, what sectors you may be too heavy in, all these great things you may have never thought about until you kept a journal or trading plan. So I think writing it out is a great idea. Digitally, this is fine. You don't got to print it off, but you certainly can. So first we're going to talk about the actual trading plan itself on the slide, on the TOS screen, whatever it may be. We're going to do supports, resistances, trend lines, patterns, EMA lines, volume profile, vortex, stochastic, RSI, all those 9 things we talk about. We're also going to sprinkle in our first take profit in case it gets rocky. We're going to talk about professional price targets, all these added things we're going to look at together. We'll do that together. Secondly, we're going to look at some fundamental websites. Now, I have a whole fundamental section coming. We're going to dive deep into these and I'll show you those all individually later. But today we are going to cover them briefly, show you what I'm looking at, what I use, and what my main points of contention are, what I want to see in a stock before I buy in fundamentally, and write that down. Third, we're going to discuss quickly a holding strategy. Now, there's 2 schools of thought, if not 3 for this. Some people are going to say, hey, you're going to hold a certain amount of time and then get out. That's fine. Me in particular, I write this plan and I implement this plan with price target and stop loss. I'm hitting one of those 2. Now, of course, if the price target's 25% away and I'm up 15 and the market starts to take a huge dive, I can get out and be just fine. But again, I'm more interested in a holding strategy that starts with a morning ritual every single morning, the same exact thing. I get that mental analysis down. I do my strokes, my strides, everything I want to look at is looked at in the morning. And then of course we can have a half-point reevaluation goal. If we're halfway to our price target, let's reevaluate, see where we're at. All these kinds of great things we will briefly discuss today. And lastly, we're talking about 4 major categories that all of this boils down to. 1, what is the risk versus the reward? That's super critical, right? Because again, the whole entire structure that we're building, the foundation is risk versus reward. How does the training plan meet up and be attached to risk management? That's number 1. Number 2 is what is the goal? Again, the matching wall to this is goal setting. Is the goal to make 25%? Is the goal to hold this until 5 years from now? It doesn't matter, but you have to have a goal in mind. That's what we're going to talk about secondly. Thirdly, does the technical, fundamental, and mental analysis check out? Mental analysis will be on you. Fundamentals on everyone else in the news. Technicals also on you. But again, we're going to get to fundamental and mental later. But for now, technical analysis is the major one we're talking about, but all 3 must check out. And then fourthly, how do the macro markets and the sector it's in check out? Yes, we'll cover that again today briefly, but again, I have a whole section on that, hours of content of what I do. We'll get into that more later in depth. I'll show you these through 3 different forms again on the chart, and then 2 examples you can use, one that I use nightly for my clients, and then one you can just do by yourself quickly. With that being said, y'all, lesson 24, let's get into it. So we're going to start off with writing the plan on the ticker itself. I think that's a really cool idea that no one takes advantage of. What's really cool about like Thinkorswim, this may work on MarketWatch and other websites and other apps like Webull and such, is that if you put it on the actual slide itself, the actual TOS chart, it's not going to go away. Unless you clear all the data, it'll be there forever and you can always reference it. Yes, sometimes it's going to get in the way a little bit, but it's really useful to have on your charts. So I'm going to show you all the prompts I put on the charts and all these different trade plans, what I focus on. What's great is that you can make this your own. I don't want you to take every bit that I do and just copy and paste it. You certainly can if you think my system and what I'm doing is great. that'd be beautiful. I appreciate it. But I think it's really important for you to focus what you want to focus on, especially on different time frames. If you're going to be day trading and scalping, I don't think mine are going to be the greatest things to focus on. You may be way more focused on level 2 data, maybe really focused on VWAPs, sure. But this is a great place to start for beginners. So let's check this out. So this is ACCO. Again, a very simple horizontal play. We do have a descending triangle here, or a channel down here we're looking at too. But again, the main play is going to be up the support area. So let's do this all together, all the way through. I want us to go from lesson 10, I think it was, all the way to lesson 23. Let's do everything together and then write our trading plan. This will be fun. So we have our support area right about here. I'd argue it's, most likely here. Anywhere down here, sure, is fine. I'm going to go with that. Our first resistance to make 100% channels right there, right? We can see if we go right there, mainly we're going to see a bunch of bounces off this. Of course, you can go up here if you wanted to, right? That's totally fine. Many of these moves come up to at least here, right? But I'm going to say, just for me, that's a fine spot to go off of. That's totally fine. Trend lines, I don't see an ascending one. I mean, you could, in theory, try and find something like this and be like, well, it's actually bouncing off that. I don't love it. I think the horizontal plays here. What I do see is a resistance trend line though, right? This is definitely coming down, hitting it plenty. This is what we're looking at right here. This may also lead us to see that possibly there's going to be a one down here. We can see that would fit. See, once, twice, 3, that little box there. I don't love that either. And I mean, you can come through and try and fit this. I mean, if it doesn't come from here, I don't love it. So that's okay. So that actually works out pretty well. That's the swing low of this move, and it hits 3 times. So again, we can even leave this on here if we wanted to. Just for now, I think this is a fine thing to look at and to think about. This may be a descending wedge, which is not one of my favorite plays. But again, it's important to see that, yeah, we have higher high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. And again, we may see a breakout from this formation. So again, you can have multiple patterns, but we have a strong support. That's the main play. But I do see this coming together. I'll make this dotted too, just in case. I don't want to get confused. Right, so we have supports, resistances, trend lines. Let's throw in our volume profile. We can see our 70% area is right here. That's beautiful. What's also gorgeous about this play is this high volume D. We can see we're at the bottom of it right now, which is beautiful. We want to run that whole thing up. Let's extend left, extend right. I do that so I can make it a channel. We can see right there, see how this support is actually where the volume profile line is. That's a beautiful sign, right? That's a great sign. We'll move this down just a little bit. That's fine. And we can see clear support off this volume profile line. This is going to give me the idea that down here, most likely when we get to this area of the volume profile, 825 to about 8, many bulls are buying in. That's a great sign for support. Volume profile line convergence, that's great. To add to convergence is the POC. This is gravitational, as we talked about. This will pull us higher. This is going to pull us hopefully up 2 or 3% easy. And once we break above it, it should be a support once again for us. Let's turn that off really quick. That looks really good. Lastly, as always, let's put our boxes in. We're going to come over. Let's just make sure one more time. Looks good. All right, looks valid. When I double check my work, I would be comfortable buying in anywhere below the volume profile line to probably right about here. Give me a little bit of room. I'm also going to try and watch this downtrend. If we do come down to 786 with this pattern in mind, I'm not going to freak out, right? So I know that my stop loss should be a little bit below that, a little bit over, right? We're going to come to that wick, right? We're going to come to that wick right about here. So that wick, I can hold on to this area and be pretty confident in my move, right? If it does wick down, I'm not going to freak out. No one's freaking out. That's red. Good. Make this bad boy yellow. That's our loading zone. Love it. Our first price target, this is a pretty tight resistance. And I won't really yield much to risk versus reward here. I'm going to go a little bit higher, probably right about here. This is good. A lot of wicks hit here all the way up to our first move. Right about there is probably good. A bunch of action to the left of me hits here. And of course, if we do come up and hit this convergence spot resistances, I know to get out. That's right there. Beautiful. Right, we have trend line and horizontal resistance. We do dip down, hit them. We do stop. I know why, right, mentally. Come up. This will probably be, if I want to go anywhere up to here, that's fine too. This looks really good to me though, right? Green, yellow, red, buying down here, stop loss, price target, it all looks really good. That's the full technical process. Now, of course, we'll throw in indicators in just a minute, but as I said in the indicator video, price action always comes first. Indicators support or deter me from entering. one more time. Indicators either strengthen or weaken my odds or want to enter. If all the indicators look good, fantastic. If they look bad, less fantastic. So again, here's what we're gonna do together for a trading plan. I'm gonna put all my prompts on the screen with you. I have them copy and pasted. You can make a Google Doc as well. They'll be below, of course, in this lesson. But of course, let's go through these and then write them out together. So what's really nice is this T here, text note. Of course, you can write down anything you want to. You can even come over and put like, look for resistance bounce at, and we're gonna look right here, you know, what's that, 850? We'll just hypothesize 850, right? You can write that down if you wanted to. This is pretty big, obviously, so we're gonna, you know, edit properties, make this like a 10 font right there, you know, and you can come over here and put that just like that, right? You can write that out, but of course, if I'm looking at this, I'm like, oh, that's right, look for the bounce at 850. Ooh, what an I. Of course, so you can always do that too. But my prompts are as followed. I want you to write down support, resistance, the first trend line that I see, resistance and support, the pattern that it makes, volume profile, historical data, what kind of reversal type do we have at the bottom? Are they bold shaped, dagger shaped, quick, slow, whatever it is. Entry price I want to get into. First take profit, where if it gets rocky, where I want to get out. Stop loss area, my risk versus reward. That's one of the major categories we talked about. My swing price target, that's the green box. Professional, broker, price target. That's where the people who are professionals are saying our email lines, RSI, stochastic, vortex, all those things. We're gonna hit OK. Again, pretty large here. We're gonna make this, 15 is probably fine. 15-point font, it doesn't all fit. We'll do 12. We'll make this bad boy fit real quick. There it is, beautiful. So now we have right there all of our prompts ready to go. You can go as far out as you want to with writing. This is a great thing to have. So what's beautiful is that now I can write this on the chart. If I come back to ACCO, if I enter, after enter, before I enter, all the information's right there. There's no guessing, there's no where did I put this, where's my binder at, what document is it? It's on the screen. And again, it's really good to have it on the screen because you can do this while looking at it. There's no like two screens going on back and forth. It's right there for you. It's super convenient. It's my favorite way of doing a trading plan for myself. So here we go. We're gonna double click it. What's really cool about this website is that you can go as far as you want. It doesn't really stop you. It keeps going forever. So that's really nice. There's like no second lines or anything that really cuts it off. I really enjoy that myself. You can name this like ACCO if you wanted to, just so you're, being decisive and, consistent across the board. But let's just move the box down a little bit. You can move it down as low as you want or as far as you want. I'll move it over here out of the way. I am blocking this, but again, it's all right here for us. So again, our first support, let's just type here. First support's $8 exactly. So I put $8, love it, right? Our first resistance, our first major one is gonna be 850. So 850, cool. Trend line present, I'm gonna say small descending trend line, but a much clearer, so my cat acts up, much clearer resistance trend line. Right, looks good. Our pattern, we have a horizontal channel, but I'm gonna put a comma or a colon, either one's fine. Also a possible descending wedge, look for breakout, right? I wanna see a breakout over this resistance trend line. Either way, that's the play is to get over that, right? That's written down. Volume profile, I don't see it. Let's turn it on real quick. Volume profile, bottom of a D. We should have bulls down here for sure, right? Looks good. Reversal types, let's move this out the way real quick. Let's see, dagger shaped, quick, dagger, bullish, B-O-W-L, bullish, like a bullish bottom. Takes its time. It seems to be fairly quick though, doesn't it? It comes in, especially down here. I wanna look for anywhere down here. It comes down into value, takes off, value takes off, value took off, but then took off again. So I'm gonna say pretty quick. We usually move within 2 to 3 days. It is fairly volatile, which it is. It gets very volatile towards the bottom. Entry price. So this is where you can, again, discretion. You can say, I want at least 813. That's fine for me. I want 805. I want to come down all the way down to about 80. See how even over here, this wick right here is 805. I want 805. The best possible entry for me is 805. First take profit. If it gets rocky, worst case, where do I take my profit? If I do enter 805, that's my plan. it runs up, I'd be willing to take profit around 840, right? We hit this resistance here, the POC lines up with this trend line, I'd say 840. That's gonna put 840 if it gets rocky. So if I know if it gets rocky holding and it starts getting real volatile, I can get out and be scot-free and be okay. Stop loss, this is the lingo that I use. I'm gonna say 790 if nervous, and we're gonna put 770 for 770 if confident. So I know we have two spots. Anywhere in here we can go and act off of. Looks good to me. We have our risk versus reward. Again, the plan here is entering around 805. So we're gonna plan off 805 being our entry. From here we have about 3% risk, right? We're in the middle, 2.5%, 3% risk. But again, our price target is about 9% away. 8.5%, 9%, easy 3 to 1. So we write down 3 reward to 1 risk. Not bad at all, but it may be closer to a 2 to 1 with no volume. So at least I know if there's no volume coming in, we may get up to our previous resistance here, around 840. Get around here and die. Again, that's more of a 2 to 1. I'm not aware of that. My swing price target right here is 860 to 890. So 860 to 890 written down. Broker price target. Here's our first time as a group to go online together. It'll be a lot of fun. So let's go to some websites. I'm gonna show you real quick. The main one I'm gonna use is what I'm gonna show you today, and it's actually extremely useful. Let me show you. So we have our Google search here. You can use Google, you can use Yahoo, it doesn't matter. The website's called TipRanks. I like TipRanks a lot. I actually pay them to have their services premium. It's actually really nice. Of course, there's plenty of websites you can use. You can use anything you want, but TipRanks for me is usually my number one to check out. It's really nice. So we're looking at ACCO. Type in ACCO. I do pay for premium, so I do get top analysts. You can do all analysts. Many are not going to change. If I go like Tesla, for example, all analysts, there's over 23. Top is only 15, right? So it is for the bigger ones, it does make a big difference. For the smaller ones, it really doesn't. ACCO has 2 off the bat. Tesla had 25, this has 2. This is a smaller cap, and so we already know off the bat this is not going to move nearly as quickly or as reminiscent of the S&P. 13 times less people checked out ACCO who are professionals. That tells you something. It may move closer to the Russell 2000 or the 3000. It's a smaller cap stock most likely. But again, not as much hype. Some people like that. I personally like less hype. I don't like all the news articles coming and all these things coming out that make it super volatile. I do enjoy a lesser known stock sometimes. But again, keep that in mind. So we have someone saying, they're both saying $12. 12 is the average here. Just to double check all 3 of them. Let's see, Bradley Thomas here. You can always double check their accounts. 8 months ago, 3 months ago, 5 days ago. Bradley Thomas, this is pretty worthless from 8 months ago. Kevin, all right. And then this guy says 12. Joe, 113 out of 180, pretty good. 152, pretty good. 130. So again, these are all 3 pretty good. I like that. They're saying 12. Let's go back to the chart and check that out real quick. So they're saying 12 is the professional price target. That would put us up here. That in itself, if we were to buy an 805, gives us almost 48% of reward. I like that a lot. Let's continue to look into TipRanks real quick. So they say $12, not bad. I'm here for it. I do like it. If you want to, you can check out what article they're writing this in. So you can come over here, click the article, analysts, top conglomerate picks, ACCO brands, Great Lake Dredge, and Doc. I've actually GLDD too. So in a report released today, Joe Gomes from Noble Financial maintained a buy rating on ACCO brands with a price target of 12. It's now at 813. As I read this, I apologize. I'm not good at reading. Who knew? So according to TipRanks, Gomes is a 5-star analyst with an average return of 33% and a 62% success rate. Gomes covers the technology sector, focusing on these things, blah, 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 blah. Great Lakes also was in there, yada, yada, yada. So again, that's a good sign. I don't know who Joe Gomes is. I'm sure he's a fantastic person. I'm sure he is a great analyst. But again, that's great to see that of 3, they're saying $12. On this website in particular, they have a new thing called risk factors. I like this. It also, for those of you who are super into fundamentals, it says ability to sell 23%. This is where the risk is coming from. Technology, the main risk is ability to sell. I don't see that being a problem, right? Number of risks, you can see it taking on more risk as time goes on. But again, the more you make, the more risk you're going to have. So that's not a bad thing. You come down and read all this, right? Our existing borrowing arrangements limit our, yeah, it doesn't really matter, right? We can read all these kinds of things you really wanted to, but here's all the fundamentals you want to check it out. I'm not a big risk guy. Looks good. What is cool is all these buttons we'll get into in that next section, but go to stock analysts. 6, not bad. You don't see many 10s. This is also on a year scale, but moderate buy, bullish. Again, it's not really big. You know, okay, neutral, positive, fundamentals. See the stock charts, all these kinds of things, yada, yada, yada. But again, go through your favorite websites, see what they want to put on. I separate fundamentals from my trading plan usually. I don't write down everything they put. I do link articles that are important to me. But again, what is nice is to see that we're having a average of $12 as a price target. That's great. So let's come back here. We're going to put on our screen, lower price target, $12. So $12 right here for us looks good. And of course, put a little note, $12, not, you know, not too high, seems technology driven, right? Just so I know what's going on. EMA lines and our indicators, put those on. So let's see here. Let's move this all the way to the side so we can see a little bit easier. Move this on down. You know, it's below both. You can see the 200 is going to be a resistance. See how it's bouncing off the 200 so well? So let's write 200 EMA line is going to be a resistance moving forward. Be careful. But we have clear value here, right? We're definitely below both EMA lines. Clear value, I like that. RSI, historically, let's move this up real quick just to check it out. You know, it's low. You want it a little bit lower, but again, it was recently pretty low. This isn't terrible. I'm going to put fair. I'm going to put fair. We do want it closer to, and let's see, we're going to put right about there, 32. So 35 pips is where we want to put it at, right? Because that's what these are called, pips over here. 135, that's probably the best. Stochastic, again, you want negative 40 at least. I don't see any divergences. This looks fine so far. You know, lower highs, lower highs. Now you do have a double bottom here, okay? But again, that's so close. I have nothing terrible here. I'm gonna say we want negative 40. So again, wait for a pullback. We want this a little bit lower. Vortex, it's fair. Again, fair. I would wait for a pullback. Good, hit okay. There we go. So we have all this on the slide right here for us. With indicators on, it gets kind of screwy. Let's remove those real quick. But just with the price targets itself, just like this, there you guys go. There's your trading plan. And of course, you should have more fundamental analysis and stuff we'll go over later. But just for having on the chart, let's say we're to go, okay, let's look at GLDD. Joe said GLD looks pretty good. Looks okay, right? Oh, I'll get done with it. All right, let's go compare it to ACCO. We go back, it's all ready to go. I love that feature about TOS is that now I can see everything on the slide ready to go. Of course, this is just the bare minimum. You should change this. You should add on to this. You should change some things. So you should be ready to change this and adapt it as much as possible to hit those 4 main things I focus on in my opinion. What's the risk? What's our goal? What's the macro markets gonna look like? And does mental, technical, and fundamental analysis check out? If what you're writing down reinforces that and helps you have clarity, that's fantastic. This is our first example. Let's do one more on the chart. So this is AEL, a super nice uptrend and some nice resistances in here, a nice wedge occurring. Let's map this out together. Again, from start to finish, because this is what we're here for. We have our support area. I'm gonna go probably right about here. The reason is this gap was created. It was a resistance, then a support. It does break down. Yes, it's not perfect, but again, we know it's an area. Our first resistance will probably be somewhere in this area. Of course, it's already tapped off of here. Let's go with that. Of course, this is more muddied. I mean, you could put a resistance here and be just fine. But again, our price is right here. Yeah, it's in the middle. I'm not going to buy here. So again, if I want to buy low, I'll know, 2.5% up and make it a little bit risky. But so far, besides right here and a little bit over here, hasn't been much of a resistance. I'm not too worried about that. I'm going to be buying it down here anyways. Our resistance is right here. Make that orange. Our trend line needs to be nice and easy here and all the way up. Of course, it hits there. You come up just a little bit more, cut through that weird look. That's really weird. Cut through that. You're looking just fine. Extend right. Make this golden. Beautiful. Duplicate. Come up. I'm going to get that extra move right there. Now I have this getting close. Right click. Create an alert with a drawing. Intrabar crosses below. Boom. So off the bat now, I know when this goes off in the future, I should know and have my plan written down. I can then act on it because I'm planning now for the future. A lot of you who are beginners have this mistake, which we'll cover in scanning, is that you're so ready to do a chart the night before, research the night before, and then enter at 7 a.m. I look for quality setups weeks in advance, days in advance, plan days in advance. Give me some time to think about it, sleep on it, see all my options, and we kind of bring it into the equation opportunity cost. You know, if I'm going to buy AEL, I am saying that this is the best possible place for my money to go. That's not always the case. I may like it, but if I see ACCO get a better value, now I can go back to my plans and make a good choice. This is why I do this so far in advance. And again, we'll cover that in scanning. Don't worry. So we have a great trend up, a resistance trend line. I want to come from either this swing high or this swing high, right? Something similar, even over here is fine. Now this is a bit of a stretch. It's pretty close. I can come from over here. You know, it cuts through just a little bit right here. It cuts through just a little bit over here. It looks pretty good. We have 3 solid hits right about there. Once, twice, 3 times. We can see this is somewhat wedging, just like this. And we can change. If anything does show a different picture with the technical analysis later on or the indicators, I can change. So right there, looks more like a channel up, or this is a very similar shape right here. So again, we have the same idea. This is very similar to this. It is wedging just a bit, but again, that's a very valid resistance trend line. Volume profile will throw on. Look at that. The resistance right here is so close to the volume profile line. That's not an accident. Volume profile is extremely powerful for these kinds of plays. Come down, most of our actions going to be in this range. That makes sense. Looks good. Of course, worst case, it comes down, it breaks down, comes down here. Looks pretty good. Also, I can see clearly, which we'll cover in the plan, a B shape. Nice B shape here, right? Which we can cover back again in those lessons. Go back and watch that. We have a B shape. POC is down here. Looks pretty good. Extend left, extend right. Of course, you can do it your own way as quickly as you want to. I'm a creature of habit. There we go. Volume profile looks good. Turn that off. That's all the charting. Looks good. Let's add some buy-ins, stop loss, and price targets. So with the whole thing here, I'd be willing to buy in about 30, 60 and hold and buy in to about here. Looks good to me. That's what I'm going to go with. That's what my eye is showing me. Anywhere from here, get all these wicks in here, and this is a great support. This is basically the whole entire support area. Looks really good. Stop loss wise, I would hold until about here. The reason is a lot of this support area is going to give out right about this area. So I could probably go down just a little bit more. There we go. That gets this area. This looks really good to me as well. That's red, like it. Our price target, let's hit this resistance, this volume profile line to right about here. Quick, nice, easy move. Of course, if this does make a bigger move, we'll talk about holding under a runner later. But of course, we get in here, it comes up, and then we can start acting on our validation strategy in this area. Looks really good to me. Let's add on our text real quick and do a whole trading plan together. So we have that ready to go. Let's make this, 10 for now. A little bit easier to throw on here. Looks good. Of course, it's not going to be perfect. It'll be in the way somewhat. And I can even show you how I alleviate that kind of problem too. So let's do this together. Let's move this all the way to the side. Nice and easy, squeezy, lemon peasy. So we have our support area. We're going to go with 30-20. 30-20. Our trend line is 31.63. So 31.60. Trend line present, obviously. Looks really good. So move real quick. We have five solid hits. So we have, 5 hits. Not too steep. I have to always talk about that. Not too steep, not too incredibly quick of a move. Plenty of hits. 5 hits on YouTube. Love it. Looks good. Then we have resistance trend is there as well. Thought pattern, a wedge up slightly or channel up. Both are bullish. Great. Looks bullish to me. Looks good. I'm good at spelling. Volume profile. I know it's a B. Let's turn it back on. We have a nice B. B overall. Right. B overall. Like it. We are towards the bottom, the middle. We're actually towards the middle of the top D. Middle of the top D. We do want to pull back to the bottom of this D. We may want to see an entry towards what looks like 30. But this will probably be our best spot. This is going to be a support right here. With that being said, let's do this. That's going to be our best buy-in. Pull back to 30. Looks good to me. We pull back to this area. That's going to be the go signal. And of course, this does break down. We'll wick in here. We're going to wick and probably come back just fine. Reversal types. Let's see. Let's move out the way. Towards value, right? This is our value. Towards value, it's very quick. It does get very quick in that area. So when we get to value, it is very quick. Usually moves within 3 days. I didn't say it moves up. I just said within this area at value, 3 days, really quick. Entry price, of course, I want 30. I want 30 if possible. That is the best spot to me. First take profit. If it gets rocky, I'm looking to get out probably towards $31. 31 if it gets rocky holding, right? If we do have some money come in, let's say buy 30, that's the plan. Get around 30.10, hits around 31, gets rocky, starts showing no life, take my 3%, get out, easy peasy. Stop loss, if I'm nervous, $29.95. If nervous, and what looks like to be $29.50. If confident. I have keybinds for those numbers, that's why you may see me kind of skip around. The 1, 2, and 3 are part of the keybinds, I apologize. So $29.95 if nervous, $29.50 if confident. Risk versus reward. If we go off our plan and buy in towards 30, we're risking about 1.5% at most 2. Our price target is 4.5%, 6% away. Anywhere in here, easy 3-to-1 play. If we get our buy-in towards 30. Cool. So our price target's $31.50 to $32.20. Boom, there we go. Looks good to me. Broker price target. Let's go back to tip ranks real quick and check that out. So we have our stock, AEL, American Equality Investment. Looks good. So far 2 people have a buy signal as of recently. All top analysts, they're saying 35 to 36. It's pretty good, 50%. And again, this is, you see how it says July to July. That's a year's price target. So we can see, let's see who's saying it. 6 days ago, Mark Dwell, 61% hit this price target. Pretty good. Sunit, sorry, I don't want to be rude. He does pretty well. Charles does pretty well. So a lot of folks are saying buy. The worst ones are saying sell. That's pretty good. So again, it looks like we have a good buy into $35 again. Stock analyst button 2. And again, before you freak out, this looks pretty good. I mean, moderate buy, bullish. It doesn't matter. That's not terrible. Very positive, bullish, positive. Looks pretty good. I mean, low volume as of recently. That's fine. We'll cover PEs and stuff later. But again, it's a good PE ratio. It's pretty good. It's pretty low. You don't want to see a huge one, so it's pretty good. Of course, we'll cover that later. But again, we're looking at something around $35. Looks pretty good to me. So $35, we're going to put that down. $35. So not bad, but not too high. Maybe better options. So again, it's not terrible, but I mean, if I'm going to be holding this for a year to make 15%, I'm not very happy. EMA lines, let's put those on real quick. Move this down. We can see the 200. When you get below the 200, you get great value, right? So that's what I'm looking for. Is it a resistance? Not really. So that's a really good sign. So being below 200 EMA area is a clear sign of value. We have that. Let's see the 50's resistance. Yeah, you can see the 50 is what's going to be the resistance, right? See how it's being a resistance throughout this and a support? That 50 EMA will be a resistance, just so we know. RSI, let's move up real quick. You want it lower. You want it about 6 pips lower. I want it 6 pips lower, but this is pretty good. It's pretty good. I mean, it's not bad at all. Stochastic, it's fair. Once again, you want this probably again towards $30. That's our plan, is you want this to pull back. You want to see some red. Looks good. No clear divergence, lower lows. I mean, you had a bearish one here, right? You had lower highs to higher lows as I came down. But so far, that checks out. Looks pretty good. So stochastic, we do want -40. I want a pullback. Cool. Vortex, you want bulls low, bears high. Bulls a bit high. If we do cross, it could be a buy signal. Write that down. So in case we do have the bulls cross over here and this does break above the 200, keeps going, that's going to be great. So let's turn all these indicators off. Looks really good. Move this up. So again, you can make this probably one font size bigger if you really wanted to. Make it look better. You can do as big as you want to. That looks good to me. Right about there. One thing you can do, which is interesting, is you can take your box tool and actually draw a box for it. Just like that. And you can use, I usually use this purple color here. Just like that. It makes the background a little bit easier to see through. It kind of gives that 3D layering. And there you go. So let's just say hypothetically that I really want to buy ACCO or AEL. Now that I have my plans written down, I can wait for a red day or a green day and act accordingly. So of course we're going to talk about confirmation and validation, or better known as buying in and selling out strategies, in our next lesson, in lesson 28. So we're going to talk about all those kinds of things. You can add on to this later, but for now, if we know that AEL hits its buy-in spot at 30, and then ACCO hits its buy-in spot wherever we wrote that at, we can go from there, check our plans, and make our best decision with these both being written down. It's a super easy concept. These are the things that I use. Of course, when we cover the fundamental analysis section, mental analysis section, goal setting, and macro trends, you can throw those on here as well. But of course, this is what I do. It makes it super simple and easy to read. Before I start the next way I set up trading plans, let's cover 4 more pretty good fundamental websites that are free and that I really like. Just so you have these while you're doing this class, just so you're not waiting for the fundamental section. If you want to implement this now, you'll be good to go. Let's check out some more of these websites. So next is marketwatch.com. I'm not against this one. This one does have more article based. It's not terrible. I don't think that they really do a great job all the time. A lot of folks don't trust them. Let's just look up ACCO. Talk about that today. ACCO is right there. And we can see some good fundamental analysis. Now, of course, you can see it's not nearly as user-friendly or beginner-friendly. This is pretty good when it comes to more advanced people. You can see the volume coming in. You can hit the profile button and check out the actual profile of what they're doing. I have better websites for these kinds of things. Charts, again, you have the charting websites. It's not the worst thing ever. It's not the greatest thing ever. I do use it for the news articles. That's what I like it the most for. So you go to overview, you want to get some news articles, they're right here for you. Of course, TipRanks has these, but if you are more fundamentally based, MarketWatch is not bad. My personal favorite scanner, but also has incredible fundamentals, is FinViz. If we go to ACCO on FinViz, for example, it gives you the lines itself, these great setups. It shows you everything. It shows you the RSI built into this, and of course down here is what really matters. I pay for the Elite because this is kind of this is my job, obviously. So you have EPS, which again you want to see earnings per share going up. You want to see sales going up and shares outstanding going down usually. So up, up, down usually. You can see more red on here than green, which again isn't the worst thing, but it's not a good thing either. Market cap, you can see where it is, what index it's on. It's not on one, of course, because it's not a huge one. But again, everything's right here for you. Below are all the articles as well. Of course, that's what MarketWatch does, but we can see this one right here. 5-star, instantly takes note taking to the next level with its new study app, ACCO. So if you really want to find, this is a pretty cool tip. You want to find, you can read the whole thing if you want to. What you can also do is Control F, ACCO, and see where it's talked about in the article. And there's like 4 or 5 of them, and go through and find it. But we can see there's a good one for it. Is one of the largest designers and branded and academic consumers. These kinds of great things, and many other products sold in more than 100 countries. So again, you can do some more research on them right here. That's fantastic. All on finviz.com. What's also really cool is you can see it's industrials. So you can click industrials. All the industrial stocks are here. You can also click business equipment and supplies, and you can see they're also fighting with these right here. We'll cover this much more in depth for fundamentals. If I'm going too quickly, don't worry. This is just in case you're using this class while scanning and working, to give you some tidbits right now. So we can see there's only 9 companies, only 8 competitors in this field. Take that into consideration. The charts button's pretty dope. You can see actually in this field, they're all moving up pretty good. So you can see how close they are comparatively, right? I think MLHR is a fantastic setup. So is SCS, right? These are really good. And you can see they're all very similar, right? Sideways, but kind of up, 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 sideways. Nothing looks too bad. No one's really plummeting off the side of the earth. MLHR actually looks really good. I can come back here, MLHR, check them out. I can see it's a really nice uptrend. I mean, that's a really nice, beautiful setup. Of course, you gotta do the charting, whatever, but you can see a possible triangle forming on this time frame already. You see that? This comes down here, easy 6% right there. It's not that difficult to do scanning. I know some folks get real intense, but scanning is not that hard. So you have that little tidbit for you as you go through this class. And of course, you can also do USA, right? If you find like a Chinese or Japanese or Korean or Australian, African, whatever it is, different things, you can click here. If you go like Tesla, for example, they will show you the index as well. That's super important to see. This is almost perfect though. Negative to positive, more sales. If you want less shares, that's pretty good though. One of my favorite websites is Wall Street Zen. They don't sponsor me. You should, but we could see some great stuff here. ACCO, we'll look them up real quick. You can see they're 38, and again, you may be like, that's not really good. Well, if we actually go and look at most of these, there's actually I can actually show you later in the other section, the high is 70, so this is actually pretty good. But you come through here, it has really good stuff. ACCO is trading below its intrinsic value of 266. That's pretty good. ACCO is a good value based on its earnings relative to its price share. Looks good. Based on its earnings relative to its price share again. You can go through, but it doesn't look good because it's safely cover interest payments. Looks really good. And there's all these little boxes right here you can go through. Fantastic stuff right there from them. Again, the score is a bit wonky. So it's the valuation. Financials looks pretty weak, and again, you can see why. Forecast looks pretty good. Looks okay. Looks all right. Performance has been its biggest issue, it seems. And then, of course, it's horizontal, which I don't mind. And then dividend, of course, they put a lot of weight in that for this website. You can go through and see all these great charts we'll get into for that section. But of course, if you're going through this lesson right here, throwing these on to your trading plan makes a whole lot of sense to me. I just want to talk about that briefly while I had you. Because if you're going through this class, I don't show you any of these websites, at least somewhat, you're not going to have the ability to add these to your trading plan. So again, I use those websites. I do pay for some of those websites. You can use Seeking Alpha, Tastyworks, whatever it is. That's totally fine, but that's what I use. One more thing before I show you the last two templates that we can definitely use is your holding strategy. If you're going to be day trading or scalping, this is not much of an issue for you. You could probably get in and get out fairly quickly. But for someone like me who swing trades and long-term invests, this is critical and very important to me. You're going to see on a lot of these plans, and I'll show you again on ACCO or AEL. What's really critical is this spot right here from 815 to 860, right? We have the plan written. What do we do if we buy it at $8? Let's say price gets to 840. Let's say if price is at 830, it's at 850. What do? You have to devise a holding strategy. Of course, I'm going to address this in depth lessons 42 to 46. You're going to have all the stuff you need to know about right halfway to your goal. Morning rituals, swing trade with the PDT rule is important. How often should you check your stocks, red days? We'll cover all that. But again, as we're developing your edge, as you're making your template for a trading plan, think about if you want to write down how to hold a stock. I personally have the take first profit written down in case it gets rough. I know where I should take profit if it does get above that or very close to that. If it gets really rough, I'll take profit. But again, how to hold a stock must be discussed in your edge. So I'm gonna show you two templates that I use that I write out on different platforms. Or like more about writing in a different area or a different piece of paper, for example, or printing it off and putting it in a binder or just writing it online. What works better for this is journaling. Now, I think a lot of traders journal, as you should journal. I have a public journal on my YouTube I used to run. Now I just do the Friday episodes, but I used to have a journal of all the entries I had, everything. It's really good to have. That won't be as easy to do with it writing on the chart. Now you can copy and paste it so you have it on the chart and on a different area. That's totally fine. What I think is great for beginners, printing it off. I'm going to give you two examples here. One that's digital that I like to have, one that's physical. I want you to have at least one of these two things going on. Of course, you paid for this class, so you have the guided notes printed off. When you get done with this class and you want to continue on with your journey, having a bunch of the trading plans printed off makes a lot of sense to me. Let's say you like ACCO, you're getting ready to enter, write the trading plan out. Even if you don't enter it, it's great practice. But having them printed off elsewhere on a third-party document like Google Docs or Google Drive or in Microsoft Word, having it separate works well for journaling. You can never emphasize too much journaling. I like it a lot. So again, we're going to be talking about these four major contexts. What is the risk versus reward? What is the goal? What is the macro markets doing? Is technical, fundamental, and mental analysis all A-okay? With that being said, let's check out two more templates. So this is my simple one for a beginner. I think keeping it simple makes a whole lot of sense. Again, it's the exact same things that we see, but kind of written out differently. So we have trading plan for, you should have a ticker with no more than usually 4, but again, if you like a .TV or whatever it is, it's right here. Your technical analysis, your indicators, your zones, your major topics we discussed, and then fundamental analysis. What you can do and what you can do below is the link is there downloaded, add it to your Google Drive or download the whole entire thing itself. This is available for you, ready to go. What you can do is you can Google PDF editors like I have here. I use smallpdf.com. Really good. Again, smallpdf.com. You choose a file. I'm going to use my trading plan right here. And as we can see, it's uploaded, ready to go. So what we can do now is we can then hit the text button, add here, right? Support for like ACCO is $8. Boom, good to go. Right? Resistance, let's just say it's $10. Boom, ready to go. Go through the whole entire thing together, ready to go. What's risk versus reward? I could be like a 4-to-1 ratio, looks good. Right? And of course, you can do whatever you want to do. Right? Looks good. Evidence, you can then of course go to a website and put so you write whatever evidence you want to. If Wall Street Zen said, hey, financials look very strong, FDA approval soon, whatever it may be. Write that on down, and when you get done writing out your trading plan for this, you can download it once again. Right there, tradingplan.pdf is good. And we can see it's ready to go. Hit download, go to your desktop, whatever it is, just be like ACCO. Let's see. These are my other documents. What's up? ACCO, I'm planning these. Save it, it's ready to go. You can print it off if you want to, it's right there for you. Super simple idea. Now, of course, you're maybe wondering, well, how'd you make the PDF? Well, I can show you real quick as well. So this website's called Vengage, VENNGAGE. I'll give you their link. I have a premium account. So this is Vengage, VENNGAGE. I can give you their link in the description box below. I'm a teacher by trade, sadly, but I'm just kidding. We can see I have all these things for my classes set up. This is where I make all my PDFs at, and we can see some probably from this class in here. But again, you can come here. There's a bunch of templates and stuff. You can probably go to templates, and there's a bunch of free ones. This is also a free service too. I pay for it, but you don't have to pay for all things. Find any of these that look good to you, that look really easy to set up, and you can create your own. Now, of course, I have a bunch of these made, and I'll share some with you guys for sure. But you can probably see something like a triangle looks good. This one looks pretty good. This looks good. But I use Vengage to make my PDFs, and then from there with your PDF, you save the template, upload a small PDF, for example, and you can edit it there. That's a great option as well. Keep it fully digital or print it off. You just print off 10 of these, 20 of these, and then write them out as time goes on. Lastly, let me show you what I do for my newsletter and how I package this for people professionally. So you may recognize this if you're more popular with me on Reddit or even Twitter. I post these occasionally so people can see what I do. You don't have to throw this in, obviously, or any of this kinds of stuff. These are the definitions of what I do. But you can see on the slide here, I just copy and paste the picture, which is also a great thing to do so you can see time moving with this. But look, I have all the supports, resistances, patterns, volume profile, all these kinds of things. And of course, I actually have these hyperlinked to the websites I want to use. So if you want to look up industrial sectors, this will go to FinViz and show you the exact scanner I use to find the stock. The extra due diligence is usually a Wall Street Zen or website like that. The market cap is here. But you can see I just go through these and show the technical setup, and then of course fundamentals are over here usually. This is another great setup you can do. Of course, I have a copy of this for you guys as well. You can also edit. The only thing is that this is going to be used on Adobe Illustrator, so you don't have that. It will be fairly useless to you, sadly. I even go through plays that are still viable, of course, so folks can see, hey, I still like BW, CDE, so on. And I also catalog all of my Thinkorswim shared links right here for people. So of course, you don't have to do that extent of what I do, but of course, if you want to have a journal, do that and just add more slides to it, or of course, just have a whole new page and be just fine. So there you guys have it. You must choose these things carefully. If you're gonna make your own edge, which I'm 100% encouraging that you guys do, if you want to be more technical analysis focused, you're probably gonna look more like my kind of points that I'm making. If you're more fundamental analysis focused, which is totally a fine approach, have the technicals on the screen, and then again, find your template for what fundamentals mean more to you. We'll talk about this in the mental analysis part, but the more variables you throw in does not mean you're going to be better at trading. There's a huge misconception that if you were to get every piece of information possible, you will be better at trading. Not necessarily. What most folks find to be more successful is finding their edge finding their system and perfecting it and acting upon it. I don't change or vary anything. I use supports, resistances, trend lines, patterns, EMA lines, volume profile, RSI, stochastic, vortex. That's it. That's it. I throw in some fundamentals, but beyond those 9 things and fundamentals and making sure I'm sharp mentally, I then throw in macro markets, goal setting, consistency, and I'm done. If you can do that, you'll be very successful. That's what you're trying to write down. That's what you're trying to capture lightning in a bottle. You want to take this, put it on screen, write it. You'll be much better off having a trading plan written down. We also discussed fundamentals briefly. Yes, we're going to cover those majorly in depth very soon. But of course, finviz.com, wallstreetzen.com, MarketWatch, and TipRanks are my 4 main ones that are free. Of course, Seeking Alpha is good. Tastyworks is good. There's so many out there. Just make sure you check fundamentals, and of course, just like my technical analysis of those 9 things, make sure you write down what's most important fundamentally. PE ratios is a great starting point. Market cap's important to know. What sector it's in or index is very important to know. But whatever matters to you, write that down. Lastly, we discussed briefly beyond the 4 main points we talked about last year, but last we talked about a holding strategy. We'll cover that last because I think it's really important. I want to kind of end on that note of like, hey, while you're owning a stock from your buy-in until your price target, what are you going to do? Of course, we're going to develop that, add that to your edge and add that to your trading plan later. Like, hey, how am I going to hold this? You can simply put, I'm selling at the red or I'm selling at the green, and that's it. Totally fine idea. But having a backup plan, being dynamic with different changing macro markets and changing news is always smart. If you're up 25% and your price target's 1% away, taking profit if it gets kind of, a little loose, volume gets lower, let's say news comes out and it starts to tank, taking profit's always smart. But having a holding plan is going to be critically important to you. We'll discuss that in a little bit as well. But of course, while you're making this trading plan, back of your head, have it prepared to get written down, have it prepared to be planned. What is the risk versus reward? What is my risk management policy? If I'm risking 5% to make 2%, that makes no sense. That's not a good trade. But if you're risking 1% to make 4% and you risk 2% for 8% in a 4-to-1 ratio, that makes a lot of sense. Make sure you identify risk versus reward. Secondly, what's the goal? We talked about this last time, but of course, make sure that the goal lines up with your time frame. I don't really care about time frames as much. If I can hold a stock for 6 months and that's the way it is, whatever. I always aim to hit my price target. Sometimes it takes 6 hours, 6 days, 6 months. I'm not all that, I don't put much emphasis into time frames and holding that much. But of course, if the goal is 10%, but you want to make 100% in a month, it may not line up. Make sure that your short-term goals and long-term goals match the stock and how much you want to get out of it. If it's unrealistic, it's probably not going to work. Thirdly, does the fundamental, mental, and technical analysis check out? Does the news show good things? Does it show a potential for a higher price target? That's good. Does the technicals show you're buying at value or a crossover? Do you have a higher low and a higher high? Then make sure that makes sense. Mentally, which we'll get to, do you have confidence? Do you know why you're buying in? Do you have a plan? Is the market giving you an opportunity, or are you trying to take something? We'll discuss that later, but make sure when we get to that section, you know what mental analysis is, and then for your plan, it checks out. And lastly, how do the major markets fare and look with this ticker in mind? If you're buying a tech stock and all of tech, like QQQ, where all these tech stocks are getting plummeted and getting destroyed, why are you buying in now, right? It doesn't make any sense unless you have a long-term goal and you're getting towards the bottom of value. It doesn't make any sense, right? If the Dow 30 is rocketing, are you going to jump in and take advantage of that? Yes or no? If the S&P is plummeting and all stocks are plummeting, are you trying to find value to play off of soon, or are you're getting a little bit nervous? You want to jump in just because you want to jump in. Make sure you know what macro markets are doing and what sectors are doing. Of course, we'll cover that as well. But for your trading plan, it's critically important as well to think about, hey, macro-wise, we have higher highs, we have higher lows, we're at value, but again, it's structurally safe. It looks pretty good. This sector looks strong. I'll show you how to look it up soon. Everything looks good. All the charts that look similar look good. I'm ready to take a position. And there you guys have it, how to write a trading plan. Of course, I gave you some great examples. You have some great tangibles you can print off and write off. Beautiful. But of course, what's most important is you making your own to match your edge. I am a 10 to 15 day holder usually. I swing trade, I look for value, I hit a price target, I get out. If you want to go for long term, day trading, scalping, crypto, forex, it may be wildly different, and that's totally okay. You should never just take my edge or my planning and implement it. You should take your own, take a little bit of mine, a little bit of this person, that person, your friends, bring it together and see what works. You're trying to develop an edge right now. You're not trying to hit everything as a home run. We're talking about holding a runner soon enough. But there you guys have it for making a trading plan. Lesson 25 is convergence and buying in. To this point, we have really given you this foundation for a trading plan and technical analysis. Now, how do you buy in? I have 3 main ways I buy in. Lesson 25 will show you this. We're gonna talk about that little yellow box we've drawn, for the loading zone. When you get there, what do you do? Well, that's lesson 25. See you in a few minutes. We'll see you there. Thanks.